Hey guys, Andrew here from E-Commerce Fuel, and in this video I want to talk about some common mistakes that are made when using the Google Keyword Tool for niche research. Also want to talk about what kind of traffic you can expect to get for a #1 ranking in Google, and also where you really should be looking for the majority of your traffic. It's probably not where you think. So as you can see here, I've got the keyword tool page open, and we're going to go ahead and use coffee mugs for this demo. Before you do run any queries, I suggest clicking this Only Show Ideas closely related to my search terms box. It'll give you much better results out of the gates. And I like to search by local monthly search volume to begin with. So real briefly, we've got all the keywords here, obviously. The competition in the Google Ad Network lets you know how many people are bidding for this keyword. The global monthly searches and the local monthly searches. If you're doing this for e-commerce, you'll want to focus on the local monthly searches. Those will be much more applicable. So the most important thing to understand, and probably the biggest mistake people make when using the keyword tool, is not understanding how the different match types work. And as you can see, there's 3 different types of matches: broad, exact, and phrase. And the keyword tool defaults to broad. So broad match, like the name implies, is going to include pretty much anything related to your search terms. So for coffee mugs, if somebody typed in what type of coffee should I put into my mugs, that would pop up, ignoring the fact it's a ridiculous search to begin with. But the 2 words don't have to be next to each other. The order isn't as important. I think it might, even if mugs was first and coffee was there, that might show up as well. So it's really going to give you a huge variety of different searches. So broad isn't real accurate. Phrase is much better. And phrase is going to only return search queries that use the phrase coffee mugs in that order. It'll still return some extra things and some extra queries. So for example, if someone typed in where can I buy coffee mugs, or I hate coffee mugs, or my wife keeps hitting me with coffee mugs, any of those would pop up under under phrase match, but it is a little more accurate. But the best of all these is going to be exact match. An exact match, like the name implies, is only going to show search queries or report search volume for the exact search coffee mugs. And this is going to be usually what I use and what I recommend using when you're doing research, because it's going to filter out a lot of that extraneous information. So we can see down here now, coffee mugs, we've got 12,000 local monthly searches, and which is great. So you might be thinking, oh hey, 12,000 local monthly searches. If I'm #1 for Google, I'm going to get almost all of those. And as wonderful as that would be, that's just not the case. And the reason is because Google's gotten more aggressive recently with their advertising. Here I've got the Google listings for coffee mugs, and you can see Zazzle is the #1 organic listing, or the #1 non-paid listing that Google displays. But above them, they've got 3 ads here, and you've also got this big sidebar on the right with a bunch of pictures and paid advertisements. And so there's a lot of stuff competing for that #1 spot that's paid advertisement. And I can tell you, based on a number of keywords that my business is ranked #1 for, that based on the results Google will show you in the keyword tool, you can plan on getting about 30% of the volume if you have a #1 ranking. And that's a little squishy. It could range anywhere from 30 to 50%, but 30% tends to be much more accurate in my experience. So out of 12,000 local monthly searches, if you have the #1 ranking, that Zazzle site, it's probably only seeing 4,000 people a month for this. So maybe just a few over, maybe 120, 130 people a day, which can be a little depressing. But the good news is you're not going to get the majority of your traffic from this #1 money term, is what I refer to it as, kind of your root term. Where you're going to get probably 80 to 90% of your traffic is in the long tail variations of that term. So for example, we've got coffee mugs here, but listed below that, the second highest volume query is personalized coffee mugs with 3,600. custom coffee mugs, travel coffee mugs, funny coffee mugs, and these are what I refer to as long tail variations or long tail keywords. And they're just the root keyword, obviously, with some additional modifiers on there. And the thing that's great about these long tail keywords is one, they're easier to rank for because not as many people are going after them. And two, they usually convert at a much higher rate than kind of your primary keyword because they're more specific. And if you serve up a page that's optimized for that term, whether it's travel coffee mug or personalized coffee mug, you'll be able to get a much higher conversion rate on there. So this is where you're going to get 80 to 90% of your traffic. And when you're researching a niche, be looking for lots of these variations. In this coffee mug example, we've got almost a dozen here with more than 500 search terms, maybe more than that. So look for lots of variations in the long tail, and also look for the search font. You want to make sure that you're always going to have it drop off. You're never going to have, or very infrequently, are you going to have the long tail variations have as much volume as your money or root keyword. But you want to see, once you do get into those long tail variations, they don't drop off too significantly. And here, there's, for coffee mugs, it's pretty decent. You've got 3,600, 2,900. You've got about, it looks like 6 or 7 there in the 1,000 range. And then we've got another dozen, probably, in the 400 to 1,000 range, which is what I would call a deep niche. So that's a really encouraging sign. So let's look at a different example. Fish finders. I'll sort these by local monthly search volume. Again, we're on exact match here. And you can see Fish Finders, it has about 2,400 exact matches per month. And then we've got a few variations. We've got Eagle Fish Finders, Lawrence Fish Finders, Humminbird Fish Finders. But really only a couple there's 3 there in the 1,000 range. And then we drop way off to 300 and 200. And by the time we're a dozen down, we're in the 100s, or even, 10 down, we're in the 100s. So this isn't to say this market would be awful, but I'd be a little leery of the fact that it's not a deep market. There's not a lot of long tail variations, and so instead of maybe getting 80 to 90% of your keyword traffic from long tail variations, this might be something where maybe it's more like 65 to 75%. Again, these are ballpark numbers, but you do want to look for those long tail variations. They're indicative of good markets to get into, and indicative of the possibility of a lot of your traffic coming from those long tail variations. So 3 key takeaways for this video. The first is make sure you're using phrase, or even better, exact match to get more precise results when you use the keyword tool. Secondly, just remember that when you are looking at those money term volumes, that you're only going to get a fraction of those, and that's even if you've got a #1 listing in Google. So don't overestimate how much traffic you'll get from those. And finally, make sure you're looking at how deep a niche is, and looking for those long tail keywords, because the more you have of those, and the less the volume drops off with those long tail keywords, the better chance you have at getting a lot of traffic in that niche. It's also a great strategy to pursue those long tail keywords in terms of SEO and marketing, because you're going to be able to rank for those more easily. There'll be less competition for them, and they'll convert better. So if you have any questions about this video, or about using the keyword tool in general, I'd love to answer them. I'll do my best to. Just please leave them in the comments section below. If you did enjoy this video and are interested in learning more about niche evaluation, market research, e-commerce, and how to start your own business, or how to do research and improve your existing e-commerce business, you'll want to check out my ebook, Profitable E-commerce. It's a 55-page, really in-depth guide to picking an e-commerce niche and starting an e-commerce business. You can get that for free at my website, ecommercefuel.com. Thanks for watching, and hope to see your questions in the comments below.